Derek, first of all, just a good opportunity for the fans to come along and take a look and see training today.
Absolutely, I think there's always so much value in days like today. Obviously, school holidays, parents are looking for things to do with their kids, and obviously we've seen so many kids there today having a real interest and shouting throughout the whole session and enjoying seeing the players train, and obviously that interaction with the supporters. Anytime you can have that out with a match day is very important. So, the players, I think, enjoyed it. There's a wee bit more on the training, and to see so many turn up on such a miserable morning here, it was great to see. So, and the other thing I think it's got to be mentioned is how many young Kilmarnock fans were there. Do you know what I mean? All with Kelly kits on, and it's really encouraging, really refreshing that. So, good on everybody that turned up, and I think these things are the types of thing the clubs have always tried. The clubs always tried to encourage and manifest, and hopefully many more to come.
Is it a productive international break for you?
Well, I think it was, in terms of obviously the biggest thing was Brad becoming an internationalist. It's such a we're all invested in that. We're all so keen for him to come back with a cap and play his part. It just shows you in football the reward for perseverance and professionalism and determination. A more popular boy I don't think we've worked with, and I think his teammates, myself, my own family, everybody just so keen for him to come back with that cap. So I think it's a real positive for him. We've managed to get a few boys who weren't available for the Celtic game back into full training, into the full swing of things, like Liam Donnelly, Rory McKenzie, Marley Watkins, all very important players for us. So the only remaining injured player we have is Kel McInnes. So I think from that point of view, it's been good to get good work in. The work for these boys coming back from injury without a game at the end of it has allowed us a bit more time. So I think there's a benefit there. We've got another international break in a few weeks' time, and it is a bit stop-start. I think by the time we come out of that, we've probably played about 13 league games, and then we're going to play 7 or 8, I think, in December. So everything's quite spread out at the minute, but it's important that we try and find our way on Saturday to start the game really strongly and impose ourselves on a game, because it feels like a game that we're just looking to go and try and win a game, and for all the positives we've had in certain performances of late, it's been some decent performances, but getting back to winning ways is important for us.
On Brad, how rewarding is that for you? Obviously overseeing his progress since you came into the club, and I saw an in-house interview just how proud he was of it. That must be really rewarding for you and your staff to see how proud he is of the journey he's made. It's
our job. It's my job as manager to try and push and try and encourage as many of my players as possible, all my players. And you always want that reward for them. Rewards comes in so many different ways, whether it's awarded internationally like Brad, financial rewards, going on to bigger and better things. I think as a staff we all want to invest in our players and make them feel important. Brad deserves all the credit. This is us doing our job, but he's done his job particularly well, and the best part of Brad, I think, is the fact that a few months ago if somebody had said that to him, you'd have thought it was such a long way off. And I think it's a reminder to everybody, whether they're in the team or whether they're out of the team, that if you apply yourself properly, if you set about and you have that confidence and real belief, the rewards are there for you. So it's great to see that recognised by Michael in the national setup. And for all of us, we're all so happy for Brad and his family.
How did you see the test on Saturday against Livy?
Tough. I've managed against Livingston and Davy's team for a while now, over a period of time, over a few years, and never had it easy. I think a good thing is they'll not have any complaints about the pitch. I think it's two teams who will be looking to win a game. There's not a lot between a lot of the teams. I think the league table shows that, and it's just important that we can try and overcome a tough opponent. They've got good goal threats. Newbley's a player who obviously done well. Lee Bruce is a player I know really well and is capable of punishing you. But behind it all, there's a real strong work ethic, and I think that's what you get. You're always in a game against Livingston, and it's important that they recognise that they're in a game against us as well. So, home game, back to winning ways, hopefully with a strong performance.
In terms of the players that are coming back that are fit, can you give us a rundown of who's available?
Everybody's available except Kel McInnes. So we've had a few of the younger lads away international. Young Davy Watson comes back for 19s. We've got Matty and Brad back from national duty. free of any kind of complaints, and obviously the 3 boys I mentioned.
I think we're 1 game away from being a quarter of the way through the league season. How do you assess how it's been so far?
We've just had that meeting with the players this morning. I think in all competitions, I think we've won 5, drawn 5, lost 4. So a bit middle of the road for me. There's been some highs in there, and performances that have illustrate what we're capable of. But there's also performances in there that we know we can do better. I think there's always a decent level of performance, but to turn those into winning performances, everybody needs to try and do a bit more, be more concentrated. So overall, you'd say I think middle of the road with those type of stats and where we are. And I think there's definitely areas to improve. But you're right, 1 more game takes us into a quarter of the season. Still early on, we haven't played everybody. I think once you play the 2 rounds of games with everybody, you normally have a good idea of roughly where you're going to be competing in the league. And it's up to us to try and demonstrate over the next few games. There's 5 games between now and the next international break. If we can get a few more wins under our belt, then hopefully we're in a place where we what we expect of ourselves.
And you play a Livingston team who've only lost the Old Firm in the league this season. Does that kind of prove how difficult a task it is?
Yeah, and there's no real surprise with that. I think I don't think there's a lot between all the teams. I know we're only 8 games into the league campaign, but I think you can see that. We feel as though in every game, games we've won or games we've lost or game we've drawn, all of them, maybe with the exception of Celtic Park last time out, when the better team won, although we still had good moments at 2-1 and stuff like that. So, but I don't think there's been anything between any teams. In Livingston, that sort of record this season kind of backs up what they've always been as a tough opponent.
And quite a physical side, especially defensively. Can Kyle Vassell really set the tone on Saturday? We saw how physical he was for your goal against Celtic. Can it start with him?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say Livingston were any more physical than any other team. I think there's in any game you've got to bring an element of physicality, and your strikers are a big part of that. Kyle was obviously a strong boy, and you're right to mention his part he played in the goal at Celtic Park. But I think for us it's we have to try and be as aggressive as we can, aggressive with contact, aggressive with our running, aggressive with our voice, try and impose ourselves on the game. So different ways to win a game, of course, but you do need to be able to have that competitive edge, particularly against certain teams in the league.